Chill.
Hello, Marvel Legends. Confession. I have a lot of symbiotes. I have more symbiotes than any one man truly needs. I might even have a symbiote on me right now. Hang on. Yeah, I definitely have a symbiote on me now. You can tell, because I got that bad boy with a bit of hair there. Anyone who watched Spider-Man 3 knows that. And anyone who watched Spider-Man 3 probably instantly tried to forget it because that movie's not good. Anywho, my problem is that despite all these symbiotes, I have one burning question in mind. Which symbiote is best? That's what we're going to find out here. We are going to do the official David Displays Model Behaviour. I paused there because I was like, what am I going to call this? I don't know, I'll just call it the name of the show. The official David Displays Model Behaviour ranking of all the symbiotes, brackets, that I own. Alright? So don't get into the comments and be like, you didn't include Agent Space Venom. Well, yeah, I know. I don't have Cosmic Space Venom. What's his name? Cosmic Space Knight. There you go. I don't have him. He's like the only modern symbiote that I don't have, and does it kind of, bust my chops that I don't have him? Does it stick in my craw? Yeah, it does, just a little. But everything from Return of Marvel Legends onwards, pretty much, I think I have. So feel free to ruin my day in the comments by going, well, actually, Venom Punisher, the exclusive from Marvel Unlimited subscriptions, I don't have, alright? So shut up. Alright? I beat you to it. Now with all of that out of the way, take off your pants, crack a beer, and get comfortable, because this is the top 10 ranking of all the Marvel Legends symbiotes, starting with number 27. Oh, let me do the countdown properly. 27. At 27, we have one of the newest additions, Venom Miles. Ven Miles. Why am I even trying to come up with a clever name for this piece of crap figure? Oh gosh, I swore. That's not a swear, but either way, it's bad going in reverse order because you get a lot of hatred very, very quickly. You get a lot of heat. It's like, dude, why so hot? I'll tell you why so hot. Because they charge full price for a figure that is trash. Again, I don't know, any Marvel Legends experts out there, tell me, do they make the figures out of different types of plastic? Because this feels like cheap Christmas cracker plastic. This is not good. It feels so flimsy. He feels so wibbly wobbly. I don't even know how I'm going to stand him just for the sake of this video. What does he have going for him? Not a lot. I kind of like... I like the grey blue color scheme. That's okay. The line work on him is kind of sharp, but that's about it. I kind of like the head sculpt. They didn't go crazy with the tongue or anything. That's probably because they couldn't be bothered. So this is Venom Miles. He's cheap. He's not good. He's probably not even going to stand on the Spinatron 5000, but we'll see. So far, so good. And that is number 27 on the symbiote rankings. Number 26. In at 26, we have another sort of phoned-in symbiote figure. We have the symbiote Spider-Man from the Going Down Swingin' Red Goblin storyline, which is clearly just Hasbro trying to fill out the ranks of a Marvel Legends wave. They're like, wow, we need another figure, but we don't want to spend much money. And then someone was like, I know, just use the pizza Spidey body, throw on the clawy hands and the clawy feet, and then just do a tiny, teeny bit of molding on the eyes, and you got yourself a symbiote Spider-Man. It's kind of like Arrested Development, where it's like, put in some potatoes, some carrots, you got yourself a soup. Put in minimal effort, you got yourself a Spider-Man. So yeah, there's nothing to this character. He just is a not as good looking version of regular black costume Spider-Man. The only extras he has, which is what puts him higher than Miles, is at least he has different hands. He has like clawy hands, and I think he has fist hands. And at least that's something, Miles. Anyway, number 25. At 25, we have the first symbiote in the Return of Marvel Legends, like the new generation, if you will, and that is the first ever Carnage. He could arguably rank higher because he's very sort of iconic. He set the tone. Why am I holding him like this? Because he's missing a hand. Yeah, more on that later. But unfortunately, this is a kit. It's not a kit bash. It's a knockoff. He's got the silver eyes, which is the dead giveaway, from what I understand. Silver eyes tell you that he's a knockoff. It's nice of the knockoff people to make such a distinction, to be like, just so you know, you got a genuine knockoff. But the thing is, when this originally came out, the proper version with the white eyes, it did set the tone for what to expect, because it looks great. He's got molded on tendrils. He's got the open mouth, so that the mouth isn't just like painted flat on the figure. It's actually an open, gaping kind of mouth. And look at the Carnage hands. Those are Carnage knife hands there. They look nasty. They look like they could whoosh, kind of really claw into you. That is really cool. So he set the standard for the time, but since then, as you would hope, the standard has been raised. The bar is higher, and he's kind of been left in the dust there. But still, 25 is a very respectable position to be. Number 24. Coming in at number 24, we have Toxin, the original Toxin. And now look, this figure is a favorite of mine. He's a boy. He's in my boy stable, mainly because he's not good, but there's so much that I like about him. The main problem I have is that he's based on concept art, and he doesn't even properly resemble the concept art. I think the concept art that he was based on, can I say concept art one more time? If I say concept art one more time, there's 46 concept arts in this concept art rhyme. That was a Limp Bizkit riff thing. Anyway, I digress. He should have a black spider symbol on his chest to look like the art that he's based on, but he doesn't. What he does have is hamster teeth, which look really odd, but at the same time, he's got these great yellow eyes set back in the blackness there. It's kind of cool, and he's got a green tongue, which looks kind of gnarly, and I love the way that the dark red sort of changes and fades up into the brighter, lighter red. There's a lot that I like about this character. People will also complain with this mold that the arms are too long and gangly, but I like the long gangly arms because it just makes it look more monstrous and kind of crazy. So Toxin does pretty well for himself, even though arguably he shouldn't. But also what you got to bear in mind with this list is these are all Marvel Legends. So even the ones I don't like, I still kind of love, except Miles. Number 23. Number 23, we have what is referred to as Killer Whale Venom, or the Eddie Brock Venom. Now look, there's a lot of good stuff about this figure. The Eddie Brock Venom body is bigger. You know, he's not like Toxin size, but he's still pretty big, and that's quite cool. What is a problem is that he's very hard to distinguish from the Venom that came out previously, with an almost identical body, better heads. The Eddie head, it's cool to have an unmasked Eddie head, but I feel this is a very stylized Eddie head. This is very, very Eric Larson. Which is like, it is fine, it's a cool design, but I feel he doesn't necessarily fit that well with the other Marvel Legends figures. He looks a little bit too stylized, a little bit too cartoony, so it's fun to have, and perfectly recreates that sort of style, but it's not one that I particularly wanted. You know, I don't think anyone was clamoring for that. I'd actually prefer a more generic Eddie head that would go with anything. I do like the symbiote swishing tendrils we have around him, like the symbiote head is just coming down to reveal his. That's really cool. It's just a shame that we don't have like an actual Eddie head with it coming around. I'd love to see that. Also, the actual Venom head is the reason why they call it Killer Whale Venom, because the head looks like a killer whale. It's not great. So yeah, he's okay. But on this list, okay is only going to get you so far, because we got a lot of good figures and not enough places for everyone to be ranked high. That's the way numbers work, folks. Number 22. Coming in at number 22, we have our first Life Foundation symbiote. We have Scream. And why is Scream relatively low? That's a good question, because I like Scream. I like the character. The problem is, I think they could have done more with this, and it feels like a little bit of a cop-out. What's kind of cool about Scream, kind of iconic, is, you know, her hair, her huge, big, crazy hair, and they did a good job of sculpting it, but the color feels like it's so kind of flat that a lot of the detail in the hair gets lost. It just becomes just a mess. It just looks like a blob of plastic just sort of splattered on her head. Where actually there's some really nice sculpting of like spikes and tendrils all within the hair, but it's just lost in a bit of a mess. Also, the female body mold, I'm still not an expert on what body mold is what, but it's difficult to stand. It's kind of fimbly bimbly. It's kind of wibbly wobbly. And that makes her, with her big heavy hair, very difficult to stand. Also, the face, she has what I said this Carnage here doesn't have, which is the mouth is just painted on. And that's a real shame. That looks cheap. It just does, you know. They really, if they had taken the red Carnage's head and whacked some symbiote hair on that, that would have actually looked really good. So I think one of the reasons I dislike this figure, again, I don't dislike it, I like it, but not that much, is because of the missed opportunity. I think it could have been so more. So that's why Scream here only gets number 22. Number 21. Coming in at 21, we have Carnage Spider-Man, Spider-Carnage, Ben Reilly Spider-Carnage. Oh, it pained me to put a Ben Reilly figure so low. But in fairness, like, this isn't really sort of a technical, like, it is an official figure. It's all official, you know, Hasbro Marvel Legends parts that were designed for this purpose. But you bought the character as Ben Reilly Spider-Man, and then you had the wonderful added value of being able to create this as well. And so nice of Hasbro to give us the opportunity to buy the same figure twice. God bless them. But the thing is, it's not a perfect representation. To really be Spider-Carnage, he would need, much like the original Carnage figure, the tendrils. He needs the tendrils coming off of the legs, and Spider-Carnage has the red sort of Carnage sort of goop around his blue thighs, and it just needs a little bit more to make it like a more genuine looking Carnage figure. But for what it is though, again, he's got the wide open mouth that Scream should have had. That's a Carnage face right there. That's fantastic. Adds to that just the beautiful Ben Reilly costume, and this is a very, very underrated, solid symbiote figure. Number 20. In at number 20, and this is gonna be controversial, don't hate me. It's the new, I can just hear the boo.
Are you saying boo or boo-earns?
Hear me out. It's the new Venom from the Sony Venom movie. Why is this figure not higher? I know I can hear you angrily saying, you know, why Dave, why? First of all, because it's my list based on my opinion, alright? I'm not there going, well, this figure ranks as a low one because the quality of the joints and the hip rotation and the angulation of the mold and the sculpt and the blah blah blah. No, it's just how I feel, alright? And this guy, first of all, I don't collect movie figures. I just got him because he was in the wave. I bought the whole wave because you get a discount for buying the whole wave. So there's that. But look, this figure has a lot going for it. It's a great figure. Physically, the articulation is wonderful. The torso swivel is great. I love the actual texture of it. It doesn't feel smooth. It feels like a hide, you know? That in itself is really cool. The face though, I have a problem with the face because I don't like the face design, which isn't a knock on, you know, the creative process, because it's just how the character looks in the movie. Don't like the eyes. The mouth doesn't quite work. I have the mouth without the tongue because I feel like the tongue it's too big. It looks silly, you know? It's trying to find ways of making the figure work for me, which is not easy. Why do I have them in this crouching pose? First of all, because it's actually quite cool. I really like this crouching pose, like he's about to lunge forward. That's really badass. But also because when he stands up, he's so tall, and I like big characters, but he just feels like a fish out of water, which makes sense considering my entire collection is comic book related. So that's why, just for me, I don't love him. However, put a comic head on here and a comic spider on the chest. Oh, ho, ho. Take my money, please.
Shut up and take my money.
So hopefully one day that's exactly what we'll get. But for now, we got movie Venom, and he's good, but he's not great. Number 19. In at number 19, and you're gonna be like, what? What? You put this figure over movie Venom? We have the original anti-Venom figure. I know, right? But what was I saying before? He's a boy. He's in my boy stable. I love this guy. I love black and white. I love the bright contrast, so bold. One thing you're gonna see from this video, when you have a whole bunch of symbiotes together, they don't stand out very well. They all just blob into one another like a bunch of actual symbiotes would. But anti-Venom stands out so well. First of all, huge big body, which I like after just dissing movie Venom. Zero consistency here. But yeah, we've got the great big figure here with the long lanky arms like Toxin has. And of course, I love he's got like a sort of a skull kind of face with the fire inside the mouth and the eyes. That is really cool. I dig it. I probably shouldn't. He doesn't deserve to be so high, but what the hell? I'm gonna put him up high anyway. That's my choice. It's my prerogative. Is that Britney Spears? I think so. Either way, it's also anti-Venom. Number 18. Number 18, and you know what? Already I'm having some regrets, but we're allowed to do that. This is still a creative process. We're learning as we go. And we have Superior Venom. Now then, why have I ranked this character so high? Because I like the tendrils on the back, I like the legs, the spider legs on the back give a lot of like extra feel to the character. There's more going on there. Why do I not like him all that much? Because he's way too small for what the character should be. You know, Superior Venom should have been on like one of the big bugs, like Toxin or Anti-Venom over here. Instead, he's on the small Pizza Spidey mold, which does not make sense. Having a symbiote on you should jack you up and make you like a big roidy Magoo. Instead, he's way too spindly bindly. Also, kind of like with the Eddie Brock head, that is a great representation of Eric Larsen's art. The Superior Venom head is a great representation of Humberto Ramos, or Ramos's art, which is great that it's a good representation, but it's a very stylized look where, you know, that there's no actual, it doesn't feel like there's any real sculpting on the mouth and the teeth, they're just like painted on the mask, which is what it looks like in the artwork. But in a 3D figure, I want to have an actual mouth. So the more I talk about it, the more I think, yeah, probably shouldn't be so high, but what the hell, it's on tape now. Number 17. Number 17, flying in here, we have the Red Goblin, Norman Osborn in the Carnage symbiote. What a terrifying idea and concept for a character this is. Unfortunately, he's a terrifying concept and character with a really goofy looking face, which is such a shame. They were so close to getting things really good, but then they gave him what looks like white, bushy, old man eyebrows, and that kind of kills it. I see what they were going for. They were close to getting it, but they didn't quite nail it. Also, added to the fact that he does not come with a Goblin Glider. This is an extra Goblin Glider from Demo Goblin that I purchased because, what the hell? He's a Goblin without a glider. Come on, Hasbro. Come on! You can do better than that. What is good about the figure though is they did do the extra work to really sculpt the head well. It's a shame about the eyebrows. You've got a Carnage pumpkin bomb, which is kind of cool. And you've got a big swishy tail. Although surely with a tail this thick, you could put some bendy wire in it, but apparently not. So there's a lot going for this character, but he hits a few roadblocks that cause him to kind of careen and stumble and not rank as high as potentially a better version of this could have done. Number 16. Number 16, we have another Life Foundation symbiote. We have Lasher. And again, people are like, why is Lasher so high? It's just a Pizza Spider-Man. Well, actually, it's Superior Venom with a different paint job and the Pizza Spider-Man head. Yeah, I know. But I love the green. How many like luminous green characters do we have? I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of characters using like a green color palette. That's sort of like Spidey villains are known for that. But this luminous green, I really dig with the white eyes, the big white eyes as well. And then you've got his, the camera just shook there because Piglet jumped over the tripod. Thanks, Piggy. Yeah, you've got the big tendrils, the legs coming out the back. You got the detailing on his feet and toes, and also in the comics, which I'm always down for comic accuracy. If you know anything about me, I'm all about comic accuracy. Lasher is not a big hulking symbiote. He's a smaller, more nimble, wiry kind of one, so he works with this body mold. So with all that in mind, with the comic accuracy appreciated, and I just love the sleekness. There's a certain sleekness to it that I just dig. So Lasher rates probably, for a lot of people, surprisingly high on the list. Number 15. Number 15 might be open to debate because we have Poison. Now, is a Poison a symbiote? Kind of. Yeah, I mean, if you read the Poison story, the Poisons are like, they're like symbiotes, but they can only attach to people who have symbiotes on them. So, to paraphrase Rick and Morty, that's just like symbiotes with an extra step. But there you go. So, for the sake of, basically, I think people just wanted to come up with some cool character designs, and we've had Venomized versions of everyone. So now we have Poison versions of everyone. And the Poisons do look quite cool. They have this more angular, robotic kind of look to them. So it does look kind of cool. Like, whereas symbiotes are kind of like goopy, Poisons are more like a shell, like an armor type shell. So it does look kind of cool. And that plays off in this figure. Again, bright white, black and white. I love how much it stands out, but he has the spider logo like flailing off of his chest with the legs coming out. I really dig that. Also, one thing you don't really appreciate in photos of the figure is there is some shiny silver detailing. He's not just white. He's got some lovely silver detailing on there as well. Plus all the resculpted angles on here, the points on the elbows. There's so much more to this figure than you would expect. I slept on this figure for the longest time, and I shouldn't have, because he's a good figure, and that's why he rates pretty highly on the top 10, top 20, whatever the hell this list is. He rates pretty high on it. Number 14. Number 14, we have a character who has really been growing on me these last few days. We have Phage. What on earth is Phage doing so high? I know, right? You have no right to be so high, but the more I look at him, I accept him. I accept him in his Bucky Cap repaint, and I do appreciate the extra little bit of sculpting on the feet, the back sculpt, and he does have an interchangeable hand. You can have the normal claw hand, or you can have the blade that he has here, and that does make a difference. I gotta start rearranging things because we are gonna run out of space real quick. But yeah, after all of my griping about this character, there is some more that I like. He has started to grow on me. It's a shame that the black detailing sort of stops around his thighs. There's not really much going on there. But then the head sculpt, I really like the head sculpt. The symbiotes don't need to have big lashing tongues as long as they got a lot of personality in their faces, and this guy has a lot of that. So Phage gets surprisingly high on the list. Number 13. Number 13, I think, might surprise a few people as well, and that is Absolute Carnage. I think a lot of people would have expected this to be a lot higher, and I understand why. There's a lot going on with this figure that deserves praise. Oh my goodness, I know everyone talks about it, but the extra sculpting, the fact that the black tendrils is actually sculpted into the body, it's not just painted. The problem I have with this, though, is it looks like a bit of a mess. There's so much black tendrils going on here that I feel like it loses some of the nice graphic design of the Mark Bagley style Carnage. It becomes more like, he feels like a rose bush, like just thorns everywhere, which is great. It's a great style, but it's just not kind of what I want in my Carnage necessarily. I think another big thing is, like, I miss the fact that they need to do a proper Absolute Carnage, a proper gigantic, terrifying, monstrous Absolute Carnage. This guy's a little bit too small. He is accurate to the comics, but he's the early version, and I want the later stage Carnage. But for a start, this is really good. I'm glad that we finally have like the spiral represented, because that spiral logo is so important to like the symbiote mythology these days with Null and everything else. So awesome, really good figure. I mean, we're into the good stuff now, which might make the next one be a bit of a head scratcher for you. But hey, this is my list, so Number 12. Number 12, a figure that I was just giving out about a couple of days ago. Gwenom. Boy, do I shift from one side of the equation to another so fast. Just when you think you know the answers, I change the questions. I like Gwenom. she's really grown on me. Again, it's from an aesthetic, graphic design kind of point of view. Does she have any extras? No. Interchangeable head, hands? Nada. Zilch. Is she worth the price of admission? Arguably not, but arguably she is because the design is great. I love the bright neon pink. I mean, come on, I'm a Bret Hart fan. Of course I love bright neon pink. But that with the navy purpley blue and the way, as I said when I did the original unboxing, that they incorporate the hood into the design of the symbiote mouth wrapping around her. Her jacket being a removable, well not removable, but a separate soft plastic piece. And then she's got her spiky pointed ballet style shoes. It's a simple design, but it's such an effective design, and I just looking at her, like, she sparks joy. Looking at this figure, like if I just had like one figure sat on my desk or something, this would be a really fun one to have. The fact that you can manipulate the tongue and have it, you know, wrapped around her leg or her body or whatever, it gives you more options for posing and displaying. Yep, I'll admit it. I like this figure. Number 11. Number 11, oh my goodness, we're coming into the end game now. We have Agent Venom. Now this character gets a bit of stick because he's on an older body mold, but he has so much stuff on him, you can't even tell. And the stuff that he has is great. Look at the shoulder pads, the Beetle style kind of shell type shoulder pads, all the extra sculpting around the boots, everything on his belt. The only problem I have with this character is that the line work on the white spider is not as clean and crisp as I'd really like. And also because he's mainly just completely black, he gets lost in the background a little bit, which is a shame because he deserves to be sort of seen more. The sculpting deserves to be seen more. So that's why he's high, but he's not as high as he could be. Not as high as a similar character you're gonna see on the list. Number 10. Alright folks, top 10 time, here we go. Number 10, we have the Deluxe Venom. Oh, we're moving into the monster figures now. Deluxe Venom is a beast! But then why so low, Dave? Well, my problem is that this monstrous size of Venom is not my Venom. He's been drawn like this occasionally, but this design with the Spider-Man logo like this is Eddie Brock Venom. But Eddie Brock is not this huge. So we're going by comic accuracy, and I know, okay. Some artists do draw him as this size. Like, it's not that common. They don't normally go this big, but they have done in the past, so I accept that. But that I don't have so much affinity to this style of Venom. This is more kind of like some 2000s interpretations of Venom, whereas I'm more of my 90s Venom. I like the guy who just looks like if Spider-Man fell in with the wrong crowd, took a bunch of roids, got jacked up, and developed a bad attitude. That's what I like about Venom, being the evil version of Spider-Man as opposed to a monstrous version. So, Deluxe Venom, super cool, but also just not my Venom. Number 9. Number 9 is a figure I wasn't even originally planning on getting when I first saw him announced. We've got Venomized Captain America. This came out of nowhere to be a figure that I really loved. When I first saw him announced, I was like, oh, he's just a single release? I won't even bother with him, I don't need a Venomized Cap. And then when I saw we got Venomized Gwen and Miles in the Venom 2 wave, I was like, oh, well, if I'm getting those two Venomized characters, I might as well get Venomized Cap to have the set. And then I got Venomized Cap and I was like, this figure's great! First of all, he's on the 80th Captain America body, which is just a lovely sculpt with the chainmail type armor. He's got different boots that are more sort of heavy duty looking, more modern looking, and of course just all covered in beautiful symbiote goop with a great symbiote lashing tongue with the Captain America design incorporated into a symbiote style, his jaw wide open, lashing out there. This figure is great. Talk about popping off the shelf. I love Venomized Cap. This was a real sleeper hit and a great surprise for me, so I'm more than happy to rank him very high on the list. Number 8. Number 8, again, maybe a little bit of a surprise. We have Back in Black Deadpool. And this is a figure that I had a real hard time trying to work out what to do with, where to put him, like how to style him, because his story is, I think it is canon, although it's kind of arguably maybe not, but basically before Spider-Man got the Venom symbiote, it ended up with Deadpool. Deadpool was officially or unofficially in Secret Wars, just no one knew about it. And so this is from the time where Deadpool had the Venom symbiote, and it's fun because it incorporates a lot of things that I love. Mainly, you got the black and white contrast, which is great, but then you've got these sort of luminous pink swords, these katana as well. So put it in contrast to the black and white, they stand out so well. He has two different heads, different hands. He's got clawed hands and regular hands. He's got the tendrils on the back to hold stuff, and that's what puts this figure over, is the little bit of kit bashing that I did. Is that fair on other figures that I haven't kit bashed? No. Do I care? Nah, not really. So I have two pizza slices from my two pizza Spider-Man that I've put into his hands. He's got his clawed hand there with one slice, he's got another one here. Then I have the burrito from the Juggernaut wave Deadpool. So having symbiote Deadpool, Back in Black Deadpool, snacking on all of these things just makes for such a fun, quirky, see, this is Deadpool, just quirky enough to be cool before going into stupid quirky. So this is good quirky, it's bizarre, unique, a lot of fun, and ranks very high on the list. Number 7. Number 7, we have a real classic. We have the, well, classic Venom right here. I've had to rearrange some of these figures and I'm totally running out of space. But here we go. This was, again, the first time we got what I felt was just a perfect representation of Venom in Marvel Legends. We'd had a couple before, but this, they just nailed it with the Mark Bagley style design here, with the face. You can't see because of the terrible camera quality, but he actually has like ridges in his like he's got a scowl on his face. He's got the lines where his eyes like meet. So there's so much character here. When I look at this head sculpt with the tongue lashing out with the sharp teeth and the green, I can hear him going like straight from the cartoon. I love it. He had two pairs of hands, he had the open claws and the fists. This is just beautiful. Another head as well. He has like a grinning head too, which is great. And I have that on there sometimes, but I mean, come on, you want Venom in his full lashing tongue look. This is just perfect. Oh, I was gonna say perfect. He's not perfect. What we don't have is the perfect size Venom. This Venom's big, but he's not big enough, I feel. I think a lot of people feel. Deluxe Venom, too big. What we want is an Omega Red body type Venom, so that he's real, like he can intimidate and tower over Spider-Man without being like a completely out of his class monster, basically. So that's where this Venom, just give us this design, just on a bigger body. That's all we want, and that would probably give us the perfect Eddie Brock Venom. Number 6. Speaking of iconic, number 6, black costume Spider-Man. This is so simple, so basic. Just a pizza Spider-Man with a plain black and white design. But again, I'm coming at this one from a graphic design sort of standpoint. It's beautiful in its simplicity. Oh, Piglet, I'm sorry. I got Piglet on my lap and she just took a Gwenom to the head. But fortunately, because Gwenom is made out of lightweight, cheap plastic, she wasn't bothered. Also because Piglet has a very thick skull. You need to be when you're that dumb. So here we have the beautiful black costume Spider-Man, the original symbiote, the original quintessential symbiote, and he just looks so great. There's not much to him, I'll admit, but it doesn't need to be. First of all, comic accuracy, yeah, just jumps right off the page. He comes with thwipping hands and also wall crawling hands too, so you do get some added value there. But really, it's just the basic design. I love the simplicity of the design. Sometimes less is more. In this case, less is much more. He looks gorgeous and deserves to be way high on the list. Number 5. Top 5 now. And again, this is just personal preference. Don't hate me. I always gotta say that. Agent Anti-Venom. An obscure character, yeah, appears in a small handful of issues. Just a repaint. That's all there is to it, but what is repainted is beautiful. What I was talking about with the detail being lost on the black Agent Venom, it shows up much more on Agent Anti-Venom, where he's got all this white paintwork that shows off so much more of the detail. You've got the wonderful gun holster on his leg there, all his grenades and bombs and whatnot. I always thought it was quite strange, like, are those bombs made out of symbiote? Symbiote can't, like, make grenades, so did it just make, like, decoration grenades? I don't know. Did he get grenades and then paint them white to match? It's a mystery. Should I spend too much of my life worrying about this? Yes, I should. But yeah, beautiful, black and white, nice and bold, jumps off the shelf, all the guns as well, so many extra things to play with. I love this guy. And again, I love the character as well. There's a great story behind him, Flash Thompson, everything about that, just mwah, chef's kiss. Right, moving on. Number 4. Number 4, we have another monster figure. By process of elimination, you can probably guess what the top ones are going to be, but we have Monster Venom. So this is a character that deserves the monster treatment. Whereas I had a problem with Deluxe Venom being so big, Monster Venom should be this big. It's Matt Gargan in there. He's going bonkers. The Venom symbiote is going nuts, and he is a huge hulking beast. Add to that this beautiful metallic purpley, like it's a real dark purple metallic paint job. That is lush, as some of my friends from Wales would say. Oh, that's lush, that is. I can't do a Welsh accent. But either way, the paint job on here also I think is much nicer than the paint job on Deluxe Venom. Deluxe Venom just has a bright red mouth, and like a line of white teeth. I don't think it looks so good. The mouth on this one, the teeth are more of a bone kind of color. They're more yellowy, they look gnarlier, which makes them stand out from the bright white eyes. Oh, love this guy. All right, top 3. Number 3. All right, guys, number 3, we have Monster Venom Wave Carnage. Now, some people give out about this because they're like, but Dave, it's just Bucky Cap with some extra things. Yeah, but what extra things? Everything about this character here screams 90s, and this is Carnage from the first Carnage story. This is Carnage from Maximum Carnage. This is Mark Bagley Carnage. This is my Carnage, baby, and I rank him high, especially with this. The pendulum here, this scythe blade, so cool. So many great posing options with this. Now you've got all of the extra tendrils coming off the back, which just make him like that mad, manic look. And you see what I'm talking about. The blackness on here is, I feel, much more bold and distinct, whereas the sculpted black on the other Carnage, while beautifully made, I feel just kind of like becomes a bit of a black mess, really. Whereas this just feels like it's more sort of aesthetically chosen and painted on, like it's almost like body paint designed to look cool. Plus with the fact that he has this beautiful, huge, big clawing, swiping hook hand. That is great design there. I really dig this, but that's not all. Because like any figure that I'm going to rank highly, he comes with an extra head. And not just a head with a different expression, but an entirely different head altogether. The Cletus Cassidy head. We finally get a Cletus head. And chucked onto a prison figure here with the missing Carnage hand that appeared earlier. How's that for a callback? We get our own prison Cletus Cassidy just transforming into Carnage. Now granted, like with the kit bashing I was doing with Back in Black Deadpool, a lot of that value is what I've added onto it myself. But that's why it's my list. So that makes these guys easily, especially as a pair, so at least I'm not counting this one as separate, as a pair, a solid number 3. Number 2. Number 2, do I suffer from recency bias? Let's find out with Toxin, Monster Toxin. Okay, why do I like this figure? Oh geez, I don't know, because he's huge and bright red with like a gigantic rose bush of symbiotes coming off the back of him, and look at the detail in the gnarly head sculpt there. There's so much rough texturing going on there. He's got the huge big green tongue sticking out. Clearly when the artist designed this character in the comics, he was like, I want to make this look as horrific as possible, and he did. And that's why the earlier Toxin figure was such a disappointment, because it was like, that's not Toxin, that's tame. And so at some point someone in Hasbro was like, oh really? Hold my beer, because they have just pulled out all the stops with the great monster Venom buck to create this monstrosity, hideous but beautiful. I love how the red tapers off and fades out into the black. Again, the expression of the yellow, the tiny yellow eyes in amongst the blackness surrounding them. So much character here. Real nightmare fuel. So gnarly, so awesome, so badass, so not quite number one. Number one. Because proving that recency bias is very, very real in this household, we have Venom Pool. But come on guys, give me the benefit of the doubt. Just look at this guy. Look at what Hasbro have done. Look at the Miles Venom figure and look at what they had to sacrifice in order to do it. You know, look at the amount of money that's gone into the plastic and sculpting on this figure. It's just wonderful. But first of all, the basic added value. You get the extra hands, so you got, you know, something you can swap out there. You can remove the swords as well. The swords actually go in and out of the scabbards, which is great. There's only one head, but I mean, come on, what a head it is. Plus the actual texture. The texture on this character is amazing. You see, at first glance you'd think, oh, they've just repainted the Monster Venom. Nuh-uh. There's so much more to this. I think it's got maybe the basic sort of skeleton of the Monster Venom, but this is so different. The arms, the huge gorilla arms, are massive compared to the other Monster Venom characters. Plus, as I was saying before, all of the red on the costume, it's textured. It's like Kevlar. It's got a real sort of feel to it. Plus, you've got all the silver highlights with the staples that staple the costume together. This is just so much fun. It makes me want to go and play Marvel Puzzle Quest or the Contest of Champions or whatever the online crap is. But I dig it for this. And I think he has appeared in the comics as well in like Deadpool Corpse or Deadpool Kills Everyone or some. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what the origins of the character is, because the figure is just stunning. Call me fickle pickle if you want, but I love this brand new character, and I'm sure that as more symbiotes come out, he will probably still stay as high, because this is going to take some serious topping. Monster Venom Pool, I feel, is an absolute easy number one choice. Whew! Folks, that was exhausting. This video is clocking in at nearly an hour, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. Now I've got to rearrange my collection, and geez, I think that might be a video in and of itself as well. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this crazy big countdown. I hope that you disagree with what I say, because I want to hear in the comments how foolish I am for the order that I put these guys in. Give me the feedback, because I love chatting about these things with you guys. In the meantime, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, click all the buttons below. Join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, subscribe, and notification bell. And if you want to throw a few shekels my way, go on to patreon.com/display model behavior to do exactly that. And until next time, folks, keep displaying model behavior. Chill.